Okay. Okay, it's live now. Okay, so give me a second to share it. Okay, it is shared. Hello, hello. I'm not sure who is on. If you guys, whoever is on, if you follow me before, you kind of know how this goes. Ask your questions. The questions is for our guest. I do have my own, but he's the expert on here, so make sure y'all ask him whatever questions you need to ask him. We're talking about personal development in relationships. So as we get started, and make sure you share the page, tag some people in. Y'all know how we do. But as we get started, Pierre, go ahead and give us an introduction.
So I'm Pierre Cochran, also known as Mr. Nobody. I am a full-time real estate agent, speaker. I also I'm dabbling in writing, as far as being an author, but my passions are speaking. You know,
You said
I,
speaking.
yeah, I've been doing that now for about a year. I've been doing real estate for 2 years. I worked in law enforcement. I've done it all for real.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do have his link in the caption for those who do not follow him. Go to his link that's in the caption. You can get to all his social sites. Check him out. Your real estate that's in there too, or they can just
Yep. Real estate, everything. They can follow me on everything from the Facebook
okay.
page.
Okay. Yep. In the Facebook page, it's actually in the caption. Oh, however, let's go ahead again, guys. Ask your questions at any moment. I'll put it on the screen for him. Let's go ahead with my first question. What made you choose this topic?
Um, that's what I do. I like to talk about personal development. I like to help young people in particular, high school, college, even as young as middle school, understand that a lot of the issues that we have, we create for ourselves. Or a lot of things is actually, perceived in the mind. A lot of things aren't as bad as we think they are. The things that we go through, embarrassment, a lot of the drama that we deal with is self-induced.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm writing when I'm looking down. I'm writing, taking notes as as you're talking. You always know every time somebody say something, I get a thought and I gotta do a video off of it.
Yeah, I feel
I do agree. I do agree. A lot of things that we go through, sometimes we are victims to situations, but a lot of things it is self-inflicted.
yeah,
Like from us ignoring the red flags, from us, knowing better and just saying, whatever, I can change a person, whatever the case, a lot of things that we go through do be self-inflicted. However, I like to say we don't take losses, we take lessons. Because we can speak all day till we red, blue, orange in the face. Sometimes people are not going to learn until they actually go through it. So that's just
exactly,
a way of life.
exactly.
So going into the next one, in your opinion, what is personal development?
Personal development to me is like soul searching. It's learning what your triggers are, your trauma triggers. It's learning the things that cause you stress, the things that cause you to worry. Like, you know, once you realize that you are operating out of trauma, you start to educate yourself on yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
start to be more mindful of how your emotions are fluctuating in certain moments. And a
Mm-hmm.
big part of personal development, it means to develop yourself, to understand yourself, and to learn how to change certain things about yourself in order to just live a more meaningful life. I feel like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times people are limited to just the things that they've seen and experienced. And that's the importance of meeting new people and traveling and reading books and watching different kinds of YouTube videos and educational content. They say you are what you eat. And I think that that has more to do with just food. You know, the things that you consume on a daily basis, the music, the types of podcasts or TV shows you may watch, it all influences your way of thinking. You know,
Yeah. I love how I wrote down soul searching. I love how you said soul searching is a part of personal development. I've never heard it that way. Um, when you search your soul, as you said, you're going to run into those triggers, and those triggers come from your trauma. And a lot of times we do feel like people can't tell us nothing, right? So we learn, the hard way. But I
right?
do also believe that listening to podcasts, what you put in you, it definitely comes out. Me personally, as a woman, I know a lot of my triggers came with different things with men. So what I chose to not do is consume myself with TV, movies, content, discussions, anything that triggered me to feel like all men ain't shit. And
Right.
you see a lot of women, we go into the content and the TV shows, Housewives of Housewives, whatever, how do you say it? I don't even know how to say it. But we go into all that man bashing content and all that fighting and the negative. We go into all of that and we consume that in our mind.
Hmm. Which makes it our reality. You froze.
On my end.
Yeah,
Are we
I think
good?
you back now.
Oh shoot. I'm like, I'm talking. It started free. I'm like, oh my God. I don't even know what's the last thing you heard. Are we good,
Uh,
guys? For those who are watching, can you see both of us? Can you hear both of us? It froze on a good picture too. You was looking good. You was looking good.
mm, good. Thank God.
Okay,
Okay, they
somebody
can see.
said yes. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into the next one. So how does personal development come into play in relationships?
I mean, it's everything. Your relationship with yourself lays the foundation, and I've learned that the hard way. You know, more often than I really want to admit, and
Mhm.
more recently than I really want to admit, that in a lot of ways, I'm still a people pleaser in a lot of ways, and I allow myself to get drawn down certain paths and distracted by other people and their situations sometimes. And it's something that is really, you know, it's hard, but it's also interesting. It's also, I would also almost say fun for me to learn, okay, there's a new boundary that needs to be laid out. Here's a
Okay.
here's a new challenge. You understand what I'm saying? And then I
Hmm.
kind of just go for it. I feel
Hmm.
like when you are before you, just like you was been saying in all your content leading up to this point, before you can really be in a meaningful relationship, you have to have a meaningful relationship with yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be looking for your partner. And this is all relationships. This is
Right.
friendships. This is, even work relationships. You're going to be looking for others to operate around your trauma, to tiptoe around your trauma. And that's a lot to ask out of a person and expect them to still be happy with you.
Yeah, it's a lot. I I say all the time, I do not believe in walking on eggshells for anybody, and it's not to say to disrespect people, but I do not believe in walking on eggshells because going back to the personal development, when you're not working on yourself, we do. We feel like other people are supposed to tiptoe around us because we haven't worked on self to gain the emotional intelligence that we need to understand. Let people be who they are. You just control you. Don't control nobody else. So you mentioned people pleasing. That's crazy that you mentioned that because that's not a question of mine. But since you mentioned that, I wanted to ask, do you think for because I believe a lot of us have been there with people pleasing. Like people might be like, oh, I've been my own person. Some part of your life you've been a people pleaser. Maybe not to an extreme extent,
Mhm.
but you've been a people pleaser. But when it comes to people pleasing and personal development, do you believe or do you feel like it is so hard to let go of the trait of people pleasing?
Uh, yes. I believe that anything you want to change about yourself, I mean, They say it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. The older you are, the further along into this programming that you are in, the harder it's going to be to reshape your way of thinking around things. Me, I'm the oldest of 5 kids. That's just on my mama's side. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I've
Yeah.
always been the problem solver. I've always had the solution. I was more of, growing up in a household. My stepdad came along. Maybe I was around 11. But up until then, me and mama, even after he got there, we were always partners. It went from the two of us to the three of us. And you take that on into adulthood, and you figure out how you can take care of this person, how you can alleviate their burden. What can you add onto your shoulder so they don't have to carry it alone? And yes, those are good traits to have. It's great to be that way, but not to the point where it's toxic. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because
Mhm.
it is going to become toxic at some point, because nothing ever lasts. The good, the bad, nothing ever
Mhm.
lasts. You're going to be in constant states of transformation all throughout your life if you are smart. I put it like that, emotionally intelligent. You will
Mhm.
constantly be transforming. You'll constantly see things about yourself that needs to change.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I know sometimes we overdo that quote unquote toxic word. So even if it doesn't necessarily become toxic, it definitely becomes draining because
Exhaustion,
you're not only,
stress.
yeah, it comes draining, stressful. And they say stress is one of the number one killers.
Mm,
Stress will lead over. I don't know for sure, y'all, so don't quote me, but I was reading the article, different articles today. The young man, I don't know him. I just seen it trending, but someone just died today at the age of 25, and I was reading something where it was almost insinuating that he committed suicide, and
mm,
he's an actor. And it's almost like, just putting it back into this, like with the personal development, when you become that people pleaser in your quote unquote personal development life, you become stressed, you become drained, because you're not only learning yourself, you're not only trying to not repeat the same mistakes that you repeated. You're not only trying to pick yourself up, but you call yourself carrying other people. And a
mm,
lot of times, other people's life, their stress, that is too hard of a too heavy of a load to carry for a
mm.
lot of us,
Yeah,
man or woman. It's
yeah.
too heavy, especially for men,
Mm,
because I know we expect y'all to carry us and carry a lot of people, but carrying other people is too much of a load.
hmm.
So
And
I believe in the personal development.
yeah, and I want to say, not only does personal development bleed over into your relationships, but it bleeds over into anything you're trying to do, especially entrepreneurship.
Mm,
When you are constantly, you're trying to build your brand, you're trying to build yourself up, you're trying to build your business or your team, and you're worrying about every single aspect of everybody
yes,
else's life. You are not
yes.
able to really hyper focus on anything. You're not able to master anything because you are
Mm-mm.
so busy. You're constantly distracted. You pulled in too many different directions, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that has a
Yeah.
large to do with why, people don't reach the level of success that they really want to reach. And I think that's why successful people get a bad stigma of being selfish or narcissistic in a way, when
Yeah.
really it's about
Mhm.
choosing the best route to get to where you're trying to be. You can show your love
Mhm.
later or throughout the process in different ways.
Mhm. Yeah. And I personally believe now, at this point in my time, I personally believe that people don't understand the load you have to carry when you're in a relationship. We just want the relationship because we get lonely. We tired of laying up solo. When the weather change, we want to, it's cold, it's rainy. We want somebody, we want a warm body. And people don't understand the load that you have to pick up now. Not only your life, but you got to pick up the load for the other person. You have to be considerate for them, from your time to your thoughts to your actions. Like, everything is now, you have to consider them.
Yep.
So not only consider them, you got to consider your kids if you have kids. You got to consider the work life. You got to consider the entrepreneur life. You got to consider your me time life. It's so much that
Yep.
comes with wanting a relationship. And
Yep.
when you're not personally developing yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually on your own, you're not gonna have a healthy relationship. You can't paint it up.
Yep.
Them roots gonna come up, that mess gonna come up that's in you. Them pictures only gonna look good for so long. The
Mm.
video only, it's only gonna carry a momentary, memory. Like, we got to continue working on our personal development within
But
solo.
don't yeah, but don't you think? I mean, in addition, it's like people get into relationships to also distract themselves. Like you said, from loneliness, from boredom.
Yeah.
It's just it's a distraction. But I feel like at the end of the day, you can't. I don't believe that you can build with somebody else in a relationship. It depends on
Ooh,
how deep your trauma or your insecurity or whatever you're dealing with. It depends on how deep it runs, but it starts with isolation, with learning how to
I
be
agree.
alone with yourself. If you can't do
I
that,
agree.
you're not going to be able to be a part of a unit, at least not a healthy one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You went into a question of mine. That is good. You went into a question of mine. I'm trying not to say it right now, but I absolutely agree. Like, people bash the single stage. They bash singleness. They use it as an insult, but you don't realize, like, you are your strongest when you are single,
Mhm.
because you dependent yourself on every level. That's when you build yourself. You don't build yourself after getting in a relationship, because what you bring to that relationship, we talk about this 50-50 thing, or we talk about 100 bringing 100. When you are not strong before the relationship, when you get into that relationship, it's going to
Yep.
break you on every level, because you're not bringing
Mhm.
strength mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. You're not bringing nothing. You
Mhm.
weak, thinking a relationship is going to, develop you to be the man or the woman that you're supposed to be. I don't believe in that.
Yep.
Personally, I don't believe in that.
Yep. It's too stressful.
Yeah. So now here we get into, you can decline, your, however, you know how to talk your talk. So I know I know you know how to handle this. It's not too invasive, but can you name a time where you realized that you weren't developed enough for a relationship?
Um, I'm still learning, times where I'm not developed enough for a relationship. But I've been in relationships where I just did not know the person I was really with. And I learned the hard way that people can hide their true intentions or the way that they really are until that honeymoon phase kind of passes. And then by then, you kind of trapped in it. You
Yeah.
never are truly trapped, but you feel trapped. Worldly things, your flesh makes you feel trapped. In my situation, I was trapped in a lease for a year. I'm so busy thinking about I can't mess up my credit. You know what I'm saying? I can't afford
Yep.
to pay off this lease. So here we are trapped in this, you know.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that, when I tell you I became so like I've always been the type to isolate myself. That's
Hmm.
I always say my misery don't like company. So when I'm having a bad day, when I'm in a bad way, I will, I'm a cancer, so I go into my crab shell and I be perfectly fine in there. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But that whole time I'm working on myself. I might be
Hmm.
meditating and praying. I may be reading. I may be watching YouTube videos, learning about different, you know, even like mental, situations. We have things like ADHD that's always a contributing factor, anxiety, depression. But the thing is that I've learned, that's why I call myself Mr. Nobody, because knowledge is truly power. Once
Yeah.
you learn that these things exist within you, now you can start finding the tools to work on these things, to
Hmm.
build upon these things, and to sharpen yourself in a way that at least you can go into maybe back into the dating world better. See, because I don't
Yeah.
date to find love. I date to find, entertainment, to, kind of, have a little companionship, but I'm
Ooh.
clear with my partner too.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying?
So people ain't gonna like that one,
I know.
because I
You
don't
know,
date to find love. They're not gonna like that one, because you hear people say you need to date intentionally. But the thing with that, when we say that, we're saying you need to date intentionally to marry. However, Just because I may not be dating for, as in your words, love, or dating to marry, that does not mean I'm not dating intentionally.
Don't mean I'm not dating to find a friend. You
It
know,
don't,
I'm
yeah.
a friend first and foremost.
Oh, yeah. I should have wrote it down because you said a lot, but the part I love is the isolation. When you are working on yourself, I notice a lot of people do not like to be alone. They gotta be at somebody's party, they gotta be at somebody's bar, they gotta have some type of liquor, they gotta have some type of something to drown out their own thoughts and their issues. But you find yourself in solitary. You heal yourself in solitary. You personally develop yourself and find what works for you and what doesn't work for you in solitary. I have to tell people like, you don't never want to come around, because when I'm going through my personal development, when I'm trying to heal, I gotta watch the energies I'm around.
Yep.
I gotta watch the environment I'm around. I can't get that in my spirit,
Yep.
because I don't need you to taint
They
my
corrupt
personal
you.
journey right now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I love that you said that about, the isolation, because people feel like that is, I know you have to watch how you isolate, because being away too much, it
Yeah.
can cause, depression and suicide to sneak up on you. I get that. But to run from yourself, you
Mm-hmm.
will never find yourself.
Nope. And I mean, when I say isolation, like I said, it's watching YouTube videos, maybe with, I say I have gurus.
Yeah,
And this is with anything. I believe that you can't just watch any and everything. You find you a
absolutely.
few influential people who resonate with you and your story. Maybe y'all have similar backgrounds or
Mhm.
some kind of history, and you follow their content, from beginning to end.
Yeah,
Maybe that may be the case. And again, this could be with finance. This could be, man, I'm the TED Talk king. I
yeah,
will watch TED Talks in the background,
yeah, yeah,
and I'm big on motivation because, and motivation is something that you have to continue to incorporate into your life. The Les Browns and the Jim Rohns and the Earl Nightingales and the Eric Thomases. You have to
mhm,
continuously get that, because I mean, motivation is not lasting.
yeah,
Discipline is lasting,
mhm,
which is
yeah,
another element. But and journaling, things like that, definitely keep you, even, keep you balanced.
yeah, yeah. And then someone just commented. I actually want you to tackle what she said, but I believe that, so you can't watch everything. You can't put everything in your spirit, your soul, your mind, your thoughts. Because I've had people know I like podcasts. So I have people, they'll send me stuff all the time. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm at work. I can listen to podcasts all day. So I'll listen to it. And some of the stuff I'd be like, ooh, nah, that one ain't for me. It might do for you,
Yeah.
but the way they talk and the how they're talking, the way they say to resolve stuff, that's not for me. So I
Yeah.
can't listen to that.
Mhm.
So, even with podcasts or relationship stuff or financial stuff, like even with those, you have to know what fits your life as a personal decision, because
Yeah.
not it may work for me. Pierre might listen to something that I suggested. He's like, Brandy, how you listen to that all the time? That don't do it for me. But you
Yeah.
don't know that until you sit with yourself and learn yourself. So I'm gonna touch something else that you said before I go to my next question, but I'm gonna put her comment on the screen, and I just want to see if you got a thought to what she said. And she said you can use isolation to heal or to torture yourself.
100% true. It's all about, it's all about what you're allowing into your mind. Or you isolating to go through your transformative journey, or you isolating to get closer to God, or you isolating to understand yourself better. Because another thing that I learned from a relationship, being in a relationship so long and being so unhappy and thinking for two people, you forget what you actually like to do. You
Oh my
forget
God.
what you
Yes.
actually enjoy because you so
Yes.
used to thinking about what's going to entertain both of us. I'm like, damn, I like to, randomly go to the mall by myself, or I like to go, swimming, or whatever my interest may be. I like to watch these types of things. You may be in a relationship with somebody who likes scary movies, and y'all sit up and watch a bunch of scary movies and you don't really care. But then when you get by yourself, you realize, like, I hate scary movies. You know, I enjoy these types of movies more. So it's like that. You can use it to heal yourself, most definitely, and that's what you should be
Yeah.
using your time for. Journaling your thoughts, documenting how you feeling from day to day. You
Mm-hmm.
know, remembering who you are. That's what people are always saying. I had to remember who I was. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's 101. That's day one. You should do that all the time.
Yeah, because it is, especially when you're in a relationship, it is totally easy to forget who you are. Because, like you said, we're trying to make the other person happy. We're trying to please the other person. I was on a podcast with a guy. He's married, and he was saying how he got ripped to shreds by saying that he was going on a solo location. And they were like, "What you need to go on a solo location for? Oh, you finna leave your wife? You must finna be cheating." Like I'm sitting here like the fact that our minds instantly go to that and say that a person cannot have their me time outside of their partner. That's how you
That's
know we
crazy.
don't know how relationships are supposed to work in a
Exactly.
healthy state. You are an individual at the end of the day. You are an individual. So if you can have a me time and without your partner thinking you're cheating or being on BS, something is there's a root there. Either on
Yeah.
your behalf because maybe you did, cheat or something, or it's
Mhm.
a root there of insecurity from the partner. And the
Yep.
fact that we think that our person is not supposed to have an isolated state to regroup, to find
Yep.
them, to like you said, you like to go to the mall. So you can't go to the mall by yourself because you're in a relationship. How
Exactly.
unhealthy is that?
Exactly.
You
I don't want
know?
to buy you something all the time. You know what I'm saying? I don't want. I
Yeah,
don't need you to be dragging me into your stores. You know what I'm saying? I want to do my
yeah,
own thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. And I think, and this is another comment, but I think we have to get back to the healthy mindsets. Right now, a lot of people are not in healthy mindsets. We are, and this is, I said I didn't want to say it because I was going into a question of mine, but I'm gonna say it, but I'm gonna ask the question anyway when I get to it. But I feel like we are too dependent on somebody else to make us happy. We're too dependent on somebody else to find our identity. Like my
Hmm.
identity should not be in my boyfriend, my husband, my friend, my coworker, my it shouldn't even be in my brand. I should know who
Right.
Brandy is outside of conquering relationships. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because that's life coaching. That's the life coaching Brandy. But who
Mhm.
is Brandy as an individual, as a woman? And even
Right.
Pierre with you. I love the Mr. Nobody. Like when you broke that down to me on why you did that, I said that makes so much goddamn sense
Hmm.
because you ain't nobody, but you hella somebody. Like, look at what you're doing. Like
Hmm.
from everything that you got your hand into, from the strength that you show, even as a because we got this thing where we calling all these men sassy, right, for expressing themselves. But when
Hmm.
you express yourself, ain't nothing sassy about you.
Hmm.
Hey, somebody can be mad, don't like what you say, and call you sassy. I don't care. Ain't nothing sassy about Mr. Nobody. Like you,
Exactly.
you can see the strength, and when
Mhm.
you express yourself, you can just see like I've been through some stuff I did, and I'm working through it. But guess what? You ain't gonna play with me no more. Like that's
Exactly.
what I see when
Yep.
I listen to your content.
And you got
Mr.
to move
Nobody,
that
but
through
you
our
just
life.
somebody.
Yep. You got to
Say
move
that
through
one
it.
more time.
You got to move through that. You got to move like that throughout life, because you have to stand your ground 10 toes tall about who you are trying to be, who you are looking,
Facts.
because everything we learn at home, and I say this all the time, everything we learn at home is not going to make us successful. Everything you learn in your household, in your neighborhoods, even in the schools you went to, when they say it takes a village, that is true. And that goes back to what you
Absolutely.
said. When somebody sends you a podcast, you take from it what you want to take from it. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And you leave the rest to whoever else the rest of that information is for. And
Absolutely.
I can think about times where I did that with coworkers, with trainers, all kinds of situations where I was new at a gig and I got in that job and I knew nothing because I wasn't born doing this. And this person may have taught me this, but this other person taught me this. So I took step one, step two from this person, step three and step
Hmm.
five from this person, and I
Hmm.
found a way to turn it into my own way of doing what I do. You know, you
Absolutely.
have to be that way. You
Hmm.
know, and
Absolutely.
you can't waver or be nervous
Hmm.
or worry about the backlash you're gonna get from it.
Yeah. And that brings me to a few points. One of them being, I see people say all the time somebody copying somebody, right? So I spoke at, I don't know what year that was. I spoke at an event and I spoke on the copying thing. And I said, we focus so much on the negative. It could be that they ain't copying you, you just inspiring them. Because again, what everything we do ain't new under the sun. Now the ways we do it, the tactics we do it may be new, but
Mhm.
everything we do ain't new under the sun. So when you focus on somebody copying you, you throwing yourself off your game
Sure is.
instead of focusing on the bad. I wrote down when you was talking, take the meat and leave the rest. Take the meat out of that. Oh, they copying you. All right, cool. I must be doing something right. You want to
Yep.
be like me? Oh, cool. I
Yep.
can give you. You can look at this. You can look at what this is, but you can't take the template because I got it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to create your own. Even if you is copying, it ain't gonna be like I am because you're not me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And don't get intimidated by it.
yep. Go ahead.
Um, So, no, I was just saying, don't get intimidated by it either. But I also want to take that to the personal development and relationships. We do that a lot. I see a lot of people. Did I make that post? I type so much stuff and I save things to post later. I don't know if I made it
I
yet,
do the
but
same.
I have a post, huh?
I do the same thing. My notes is crazy.
Yeah, crazy, like crazy. But I made a post, or either I got it sitting on my notepad, and I said it seems like a lot of people are in competition with their partner.
Ooh.
Why are we together? It's like you are out.
Spoke
You are
about.
out to your point. Why are we together if we're not elevating each other? Why are
Mm-hmm.
we together if we in competition with each other?
Yep.
Like you trying to make, like, going back to the scary movie thing that you said. Okay, you trying to force me to be a scary movie lover and I'm not. When
Exactly.
all I did it as a compromise. But you
Mm-hmm.
trying to turn me into a scary movie lover and I'm not.
Exactly.
And then you want
Exactly.
to argue, take the good, take the compromise I did at the moment, and then
Mm-hmm.
still let me be myself. Don't turn me into something that you want me to be to make you happy. That's where your personal development come in at. You
Mm-hmm.
make yourself happy first, and then I come in as an addition.
Yep. Because the question is,
Um,
why is there no happy median? Why is there nowhere in the middle that we can meet to where we both kind of getting the same entertainment? We both getting our brand of entertainment that we both enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Or we getting our, that the club, whatever it is you might like to do. You
yeah,
know how I many people
yeah,
in relationships that, man, one partner hate going to the club, the other one love it. And it's like, okay, well, we'll go here once a week or something. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah. Yeah. And I love that you said that because I was talking to a friend and I said, I'm finding out about myself because for a minute I was out in the club scene and I said, you know what I'm finding out about myself? I do not like the club scene. I will go if it's like a special occasion from somebody that, I care about or that I'm cool with. I'll go for a special occasion, but just to go for fun, that's not my scene. So, however, I don't look for it whenever I do go. I don't look for a partner in the club scene because that's not my thing. If I find a partner somewhere else and they like clubs, guess what? I'm not going to change them from not liking clubs because at the end of the day, you have to still be yourself. So if I
Right.
be with a person that does the club and I have to come into that relationship realizing that you are who you are, I have to take you at face value. If that's what you like, I have to accept it. And if
Mm-hmm.
I'm not willing to accept that part of you, why am I here? Why
Yep.
waste my time?
Yep. Because it's not about changing who you are. It's about finding a person who is willing to accept those parts of you. Because some people are more triggered by certain aspects of a person than somebody else would be. So you
Oh
may not
yeah,
agree with your person because you have this bad habit. You know what I'm saying? And this
hmm,
irritates them so much. Maybe it's about finding somebody else who doesn't find this particular quirk you may have as aggravating or irritating. You know?
hmm, yeah. But you see, well, I can't speak for you, but I see a lot of people. They find maybe one or two things that they like, and then maybe the seven to 10 other things they don't like. They find the one or two things they like, and they try to change the 7 to 10 things that they don't like. First, why don't you just get somebody who you like 7 to 10 things and then one or two things you don't like? Like, why not go for the majority of the better
Mm,
parts of a person? Then getting the low parts of the person and feeling like you got to put in all this work to change, you know, let me put it to percentage. So it's 80% of the person you don't like. So you get with them trying to off the 20% thinking you finna change the 80%. Why not pick a person that got 80% of what you do like?
mhm.
And
Yep.
sell, be okay selling with the 20%.
And you're gonna learn that the hard way
I'm
sometimes.
just gonna say talk again. I ain't think I heard you.
Yep. Sometimes you're gonna learn that the hard way. And I use that same example when it comes to like personal development, when it comes to like, really building on yourself, especially with our anxiety. A lot of
Yes,
times we look at things as in these are going to be the worst. Anxiety shows us the worst possible outcomes all the time. It's part of
every
our
time.
survival instinct.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we are programmed to think the worst, especially as Black
Mm-hmm.
folk. We often don't get our way in situations. So, what we learn to do is we see those 8 things that can go wrong. Like you said, if it's 10 things, 10 things on the list of things that can go wrong, we don't even pay attention. I bet you it's 8 more things on the other side of that spectrum that could go right. But we
That's
focus
good.
our energies more into the things that can go wrong, which causes us
Mm-hmm.
to manifest those things in our life. Well, how do we
Mm-hmm.
manifest those things? We manifest those things by looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to seek and thee shall find.
Yeah.
Curiosity killed the cat. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? You're going to see exactly what you're expecting out of people in those interactions because they're going to poke out to you. It's like when somebody buys a new car. When somebody buys a new car, you may have never seen this car before in your life, but your
Mm-hmm.
friend buy it. Now you seeing it everywhere. They've
Yeah.
always been there.
Yes.
This is a power of manifestation at work. You're noticing them more because it's what
Mm-hmm.
you're expecting now. You know it
Yeah.
exists. Same way with knowing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those things where, again, if you're not working on your own personal development, exactly what you said goes into the lane of assumptions. It's like we will assume until we're right.
Mm-hmm.
It could not be happening, or it could be happening, but we won't go for the good. We'll assume until we're right,
We validate it.
even if we're not right.
Yep.
So I'm just saying it again. We'll assume until we're right, even if we're not right. So you go to looking for stuff. You look, you gonna find it, even if
Yep.
it's not there.
Yep. Yep.
That's, and it's not healthy. It's not healthy, but I see a lot of people do that because a lot of people are not personally working on their own emotional intelligence. We trying to check other people. Check
Mm-hmm.
yourself first.
Yep.
Check you first.
Mm-hmm.
So Cozy, I got a couple of comments coming on down. I saw you coming as we were talking. So Cozy said that competition be rooted in being seen as less by the other partner and scared that if somebody is not better, that means somebody is not worthy. Did you want to tackle that?
The competition is ruining me. Man, I feel like that is a big part of, I've had this issue. I've been, in a situation where I felt like I wasn't good enough. And it wasn't until I really learned to step into my light and to step into my purpose that I realized that nobody is better or worse than the next. You may have different skills, you may have different talents, you may have different aptitudes or things that I highlight that I love about you that I think are so great. But do I have to suppress what I bring to the table because you have these qualities that you bring? How do
Yeah.
I know? Because somebody else out there is looking at the qualities that I bring and they're like, oh man, he amazing. He do this, he do that, he do this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, I need somebody on my team to do this because I can't do that thing. And instead of me being, jealous or envious about the situation, I'm figuring out how me and you can work together because I need your skill and you need mine. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We're supposed to fit together like a puzzle. But
Mm-hmm.
we doing exactly what you just explained, and then the end part of his comment. Just because you aren't better, in my opinion, better than me, especially in certain areas, that don't mean you're not worthy though.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. Like we have an idea of what we feel like a person should look like, be like, act like, and talk like. So
Exactly.
then when they don't fit into that box that we created in our head, now all of a sudden you're not worthy.
Mm-hmm.
I do this, so you should do this. And because you don't do that, that means I'm better than you and you're not worthy on any other level. And
Yep.
that's what's killing us in friendships,
Mm-hmm.
businesses, and obviously relationships. We're not fitting like the puzzle that we're supposed to fit like.
Yep.
Different pieces.
Yep. And sometimes that just means walking away. Sometimes
Yeah.
it could literally mean, that's why I make these videos talking about mastering the art of detachment. Detachment doesn't
Yeah.
have to be ugly, it doesn't have to be nasty. It doesn't mean necessarily an end. It may mean an end to certain, to a certain capacity of what a relationship may mean. But does it mean I'm never going to talk to you again? Absolutely not. Does it
Mm-hmm.
mean I can't never work with you again? Does it mean that I can't never, have an intimate relationship with you again? Does it mean that I don't want to, share certain elements and aspects of my life with you again? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it doesn't have to mean that we can't ever be friends. We can't be cool no more. Does it mean we can't be in a relationship? No. Oh, well, yes, it does mean that because
I'm like, I'm like, hold on.
because you have things about you, that I may not resonate with, that may mesh with the way that I am. And sometimes it's like what they say, how's it with magnets? When two magnets of the same polarity come together, they kind of like push apart.
They repel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they repel.
And when you feel it all throughout your body. You
Mm-hmm.
feel the you think about the word repel and like repulse. You kind of feel like about this situation or this person,
Mm-hmm.
or and you want to try to do something about it before you get there. That's where communication comes
Yeah.
in. Communication works two ways. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you try to talk
Yeah.
things out, and
And
it may not work out that way.
yeah, and I like how you said communication works two ways because also in your personal development, you got to realize too, although communication works both ways, you have to be emotionally intelligent to understand that the other person is not going to always communicate like you.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it works both ways, but
Mm-hmm.
you got to be accepting of how the other person communicates. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying just let them do, just be, and then you guys are just clashing because you never understand each other. But in your personal development, you begin to give people grace. The
Mm-hmm.
same grace that you want others to give you, you begin to give them that grace. And if you value the relationship, the friendship, businessship, whatever ship, if you
Yeah.
value that, then you're going to learn that person and you're going to learn how to communicate with them.
Mm-hmm.
I see that thrown around too. Well, communication work both ways. Yeah, but that person probably was communicating with you and you didn't
Mm-hmm.
like their style, so you just threw them off and said they weren't communicating at all.
Yep. Or you disregarded what
I
they
see
had.
that happen.
You disregarded what they
Yeah.
had to say, which is gaslighting. You choose
Ooh,
to see only what you want to see, or you try to redirect the blame when really a lot of times we have to go into situations where there is no blame. There may have just been an understanding. And a part of giving grace is knowing, hey, I feel this way, I'm entitled to it. You feel this way,
mm-hmm.
you're entitled to it. If we can't find
Yeah.
an understanding, because it goes down to how many conversations do we have to have? That's another thing we have to keep in mind. How many times are we gonna talk about this before you realize that I said what I said and I feel how I feel, and you
Mm-hmm.
haven't done anything to change it, and now here we are. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that too will go back to picking your battles too, because sometimes you have to just pick your battles. This ain't even worth the battle, man. Let's not even talk about it. And then sometimes it's like, okay, so you just gonna keep ignoring me? You just gonna say F me, right? Like what I'm saying don't matter because you just don't want to do it.
yeah,
So then it goes to what you kind of said earlier, which is
it
so
escalates.
hard. I made a post and I said, I don't tell people to leave and I don't tell people to stay. I give you the tools to understand yourself and work on yourself and to learn yourself, and you make the choice to leave or stay. So it goes back to what you were saying earlier, about walking away. A lot of people hate to walk away. They hate
They
to
do.
say they wasted the years,
Mm-hmm.
the time, the memories. They hate to say, we got kids together. I don't want the kids in separate. They hate it, but talking about personal development, but this stuff that you're going through, your kids are feeding off of what you are going through. You're planting that seed into your seed,
Yeah, which
you
goes back,
know?
which goes back to everything that you learn at home is not gonna make you successful. You have
Absolutely.
to be willing sometimes to walk away, and you have to be willing to sometimes let people go and situations go. I
Yeah.
tell people all the time, being a policeman was my dream job. I had always wanted to be a cop as a kid. And so
Hmm.
when I did it and I was there for 3 years, I really felt like, or almost 3 years, I really felt like I was going to be there forever. But as I got in there and I prayed about it and I prayed about my purpose and I meditated on, just getting up and going to work every night, I started to realize, oh, this ain't my dream job. It was something that I was meant to do and I always wanted to experience, but I'm not meant to be here for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then it made me also think that every job I've ever had, even going all the way back to my first job, I thought about myself being there for my entire life and retiring there. That's the type of commitment that I have. But you have to learn how to be adaptable in life. You have
Mm-hmm.
to learn how to argue and debate within yourself in a healthy way to say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this may be what you want, but something greater and better may be on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like how you said that, because that's a big part of personal development, realizing that everything works in seasons. Sometimes things and people are a part of the full season of your life, and sometimes they season is up, and
Mhm.
you got to be willing to let it be up when it's time to be up. Before I go to my next question, I want to tackle in that same vicinity of what I just said. Um, you talked about, we can separate, but that don't mean, we can't be cool every now and then, or, I talk to you every now and then, or maybe we'll hang out every now and then, maybe
Dynamic,
not.
the dynamics change.
Yeah. And I also did a video or post, and I said the cutoff. We big on cutting people off. I'm big on cutting people off, but I have friends who they, as I like to say, they adjust my crown. And it's times where cutoffs aren't necessarily full cutoffs. Some people you got to cut them off, get them on out your life. That's it. And burn the bridge, can't cross it again.
Yep.
But some people, the cutoff means just repositioning them in your life. You
Exactly.
ain't gotta fully let go, just reposition them.
Yep. Yep. I agree with that.
So he says sometimes these dream jobs are just a dream experience to be had. Yeah, it's a part
Definitely.
of the process. Yep.
Definitely. That was cozy
Yeah, that was cozy.
and smart. Because definitely,
What
and
what
that's
he
not
called himself? Damn. He gonna give me two because I forgot. The
cozy couture.
breakdown king.
Or the breakdown king.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
definitely. That was my experience. It was just that dream job, that dream career was an experience that
mhm.
wasn't meant to last. It was a lily pad, kind of leading me to my next step.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the steps. Like everything is not an end goal. Sometimes it's a part of the process, and you got to learn to enjoy and respect the process of stuff.
Mhm.
Learn the lessons. We don't take L's, we take lessons. No losses, we take lessons, right? Breakdown orders. There you go, that's his boo. That's his
Breakdown.
boo kept correcting me. She like breakdown orders. Yeah, I stand corrected, baby. You better take up for your man. That's right. Cozy the breakdown orders. I'm like, I know breakdown can't some breakdown orders. So going into the next one. So without, and you did answer it, but I want you to kind of tackle it again. Without personal development, does it make us way too codependent?
Definitely. Definitely. And I mean, I just did some research on codependency. It's crazy that you just asked me that, but it's so harmful when you are uh dealing with someone, or when you are with someone who's codependent, because guess what? Neither one of you can develop or grow. Really, everybody in that situation is going to be relying on the next person in order to, like I said, fill a void. It's one
Yeah.
thing to build somebody up, to add something to what they already have, the foundation they already have. It's another thing to try to come in and fill up space
Mm-hmm.
with somebody's trauma, with somebody's, the chaos that people have going on in their mind and in their spirit.
Yeah.
We have to put ourselves in a position where I know I can handle things on my own. I have to have that confidence that I can handle any situation on my own. Anybody else that comes into the picture is just a support. That's why they call them a support system.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? I
Yep.
don't need you to completely hold me up. Matter of fact, I
Mm-hmm.
don't even want you to, because again, it deprives me of the L's, the
Yeah.
lessons that I need
Mm-hmm.
to learn, and the L's, the losses that I need to take in order to learn those lessons.
Yeah. It makes you feel like you cannot be human. And
Mhm.
we all are, like, we all have our faults, we all have the things that we're not good at, we all have the things that we struggle at. I don't want to depend on nobody. Like I said earlier, I don't want to depend on you as my man to make me happy.
Mhm.
Because the moment you do something that don't make me happy, guess what? I'm drowning in depression now. because the only person that makes me happy now make me mad. So I don't believe in needing to codepend on anybody, whether that's man or woman.
And most men don't
Oh,
deal with a woman who cannot be independent.
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? We have to build on ourselves first. That's the only way we know we're gonna have a strong foundation. That's the only way we know we're gonna have a structure that nobody can knock down. You understand
mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? I feel
Yeah.
like I'm talking about real estate all of a sudden. My bad.
No, you good. Hey, it's all relative. That's another thing too. Like I talk about, my brand talks about intimate and platonic relationships, right? But in relationships, everything, that's why I stated earlier, business ships, family ships, friendships, everything is a ship. So somewhere around this spectrum, we gonna bring it back around to everything can be related on every single level, no matter what bond that you have, with a person.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna go on into the next one, or I said is, y'all so ghetto. Are
Mm-hmm.
boundaries a part of personal development in relationships?
Yes, boundaries are the biggest part of personal development in relationships because without the boundaries, there is no independence. Without the boundaries, there is no self discovery. There is no peace. Honestly, nobody else can be your peace. That's how I feel. Nobody else can be your peace. People can come contribute to your peace. People can come and bring you joy, but nobody's going to make you happy. People
Yeah.
could bring you happiness. They could, by coming into your life and bringing certain things into your life, alleviating certain discomforts and things like that. But nobody is going to make you happy. You got to be
Mm-hmm.
happy within yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I either made a video or I was about to about the difference between being depressed and being just dissatisfied because they are not the
Mm-hmm.
same. You know,
Absolutely.
being
Absolutely.
being depressed puts you in a place of, it's like perpetual, it's medical, it's chemical. But being dissatisfied, that's what gives you your drive, your motivation to keep pushing forward. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so when you are in a relationship and you don't have boundaries, you're constantly going to be picking up slack. You're constantly going to be dealing with things, issues and situations and scenarios that are not your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's part of your personal development. And setting boundaries proves something within yourself. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah, and I absolutely agree. There has to be boundaries in a relationship. There has to be boundaries when you're going through your personal development because again, you can't be everything to everybody.
Mm.
Men go through stress too. Women go through stress. Men got the world on their shoulders. Women got the world on their shoulders. So you can't be 100% of what a other person needs and neglect yourself in the process. When you don't pour into yourself, when there's no boundaries, what you got to give to another person other than stress?
Exactly.
What do you got to give to another person other than insecurities?
Hmm.
Other than trying to control them? You're not developing yourself. You're
Yep.
not pouring into yourself, freeing your mind emotionally or spiritually, intellectually. You're not doing that for yourself. So that means all the bullshit that's in you,
Yep.
all the anger, the madness, the bitterness, all that's in you finna pour into your partner because
Yep.
you ain't worked on yourself.
Hmm.
So yeah,
And
I agree. There needs to be
then when you
boundaries.
start feeling things changing, you start feeling some type of way. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? When you start feeling like, the touches ain't the same, the kisses ain't the same, sex ain't the same, you start feeling some type of way. But you
Hmm.
haven't worked on yourself. One partner, one person cannot build or work on themselves while the other person is still trying to
Hmm.
cross this boundary, trying to get you to allow them to, let them carry on through life the way that they are. It's unhealthy.
So, so you just brought some. So y'all, don't use this against me, or you can. I don't really care. But no, you just made me think of a live I was watching like 2 days ago, and this guy said, um, he said, "Well, we don't realize when we in a relationship," and he said, "And not even a relationship. Maybe it's just somebody you rock with heavy, and y'all on, you got a sexual thing going. Y'all ain't got no title, but y'all take care of each other." And he said, one thing we don't realize is that sometimes we want the other person to be our everything, 100%, 24/7, 365 days a week, to where sometimes you got to know your partner to where, okay, they tired. But I've been working on me. I'm good. I got the strength, right? They
Mm.
can't please me. Now we talking about sex. They can't please me like I want them to please me because they tired. So instead of getting mad, he was like, top them off. He said, "You do the work." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like keep the spot. You don't let the flame die out between y'all because you tired and you can't get. All right, but I'm good. You know why I'm
Mhm.
good? Because I've been working on personal development. I've been working on my solo locations, my mini,
Mhm.
me time and all that. I've been rejuvenating myself. So guess what? When Bay not together, don't worry about it, babe. You stressed, you tired, lay back. I got you. And then and he was like man or woman. It goes both ways. So then they
Crazy.
were in the mid because you don't realize how much intimate the sex takes off that stress. So they're like they might be stressed, but in the middle of you doing what you do because you the one that's up to par, that might get them that stress. Oh yeah, oh okay, and now they get to take care of you in a
Mhm.
sexual manner.
Yep.
So it's like, and I said that to say, when you personally developing yourself, you get to be when your partner ain't 100 and you're in 100, you get to go pick up that slack. It
Mm.
ain't always about another person doing for you. When you in that relationship, sometimes even though we're talking about personal development and boundaries, sometimes it's going to take you doing for them until
Yep.
they get back up to par. But again, when you empty, you can't pour into nobody else. So that's where the personal development journey comes in.
Yep. Yep.
My bad, I got a little off, but I
Oh,
watch a lot of podcasts, y'all. So I'll be I tune into stuff, and when y'all say stuff, I'll be like, whoop, I heard that the other day.
right.
Lord, he say that's a good plan. I need to follow that person. So that's I think his name is Trip Fontaine. So he'll be on the to he you've seen him. I know y'all seen him because he be on some of the clips with the tonight's conversation that
Mm.
be floating around. He's on there a lot. So the guy, I think he wore a hat a lot. So the guy that had a hat in the bird,
Mm.
that's him. I follow his social media. He holds no punches. Y'all
Mm.
think he's some on there? No, he holds no punches. But did you want to say? I'm sorry, I got a little off. Did you want to say anything added to that before I go to my last one for you?
Nope, you good.
Okay. Okay. And as we close out, do you have any last words of wisdom for our viewers?
Any last words of wisdom? I would say, look at developing yourself as a challenge. Look at it as, you're going to encounter bullshit. And those are always opportunities for you to flex this muscle to get stronger mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in order to be just the best version of yourself that you can be. And people will gravitate towards you and won't know why. They won't know why they want to be around you. They don't know why they like you. They don't know why they want to talk to you. You know, I always tell people, stop trying to be the center of attention, because the more that you
Yes.
fight for that, the more desperate energy you kind of giving off to people.
Mm-hmm.
And they like, back off, back up. When in reality, if you just come in fully secure, fully you, and displaying just like this confidence in yourself, because you know yourself, because nobody in this room can make you feel any type of way, because I don't know these people. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
If you get that in your mind, I promise you, people will start to flock to you. People will start to want to do business with you. I'm sure a lot of people on here, including yourself, even when you was a kid, people would come up to you randomly and be like, "I see something in you, little girl. You're gonna be something. It's something about you." You know, people used to do me like that all the time, and even to this day, I know one thing for sure: my light shines bright. It took me to I was about 30 to realize that about myself. And once I realized it, it was just like, I shine bright as the sun. And I know I
Mm-hmm.
can tell this person's going to come talk to me, or this person's
Yep.
making eye contact. They're about to come over here and start a conversation with me. And even when I don't feel like it, it's like, you know what? I'm here. I need to learn something from this person. I'm sure this person got something that they can learn from me. Let's just have a discussion. Let's
Mm-hmm.
share our light. Let's share our wisdom. Let's share our strengths. Me and you had a conversation a couple weeks ago. Just because now I'm going towards this, I want to help people build their businesses and build their brand. I want to consult with people. It's something that I'm good at, that I find fun to do. And a fresh set of eyes is most of the time is all you need. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
just be secure within yourself. Be willing to think outside of the box and be different. You know, if you can't do that, then you're going to constantly be anxious, you're going to be depressed, you're going to be sad, you're going to be lonely, because
Yep.
nothing is going to be sustainable. You don't
Yep.
even like you. You know what I'm saying? You don't even
I
like
say it all the time, like, y'all think somebody jealous of y'all. We see that you don't like yourself. Nobody wants to be like you.
you. Hmm.
In fact, going back to what you said about people being themselves, in fact, nobody wants to be like you. They see that you don't like yourself. You're pure entertainment. So guess what they're going to do? Egg you on to continue to be our entertainment.
Hmm.
Like people, a lot of people that's amen with you and laughing with you, they're not laughing with you. They're laughing at you. And so to keep you being a fool, especially on social media, to keep you being a fool, oh yeah, I'm gonna egg you on. They said, what? Girl, you cry what?
Yep.
Because they know you don't like yourself, you don't like your life, you don't like your man, you just don't like nothing.
Yep.
You're miserable.
Yep.
But to those that are watching, those that will catch the replay, if you want to be a guest on my podcast, you know what? I call it people is like, you know, a podcast? It ain't really a podcast, I guess, so to speak, talk show, whatever you want to call it, because I don't really like the normal podcast form. But if you want to be a guest on my podcast, hit me up. Go on my website. You can book it, inbox me if you need more clarity. I'm always looking for guests, especially our color people, because we need these hard conversations. I know
Hmm.
y'all have heard a lot. These hard conversations is what help build us, especially
Definitely.
between men and women. It's good for a group of men to sit together. That's cool. Help each other. It's good for women to sit together. Cool, help each other. But until men and women be able to get together and have these conversations without arguing and bashing, our community is continue. They're gonna go downhill. Black love is gonna continue to be on the decline. We gotta get together as men and women and have these hard conversations in a respectful way.
Mhm.
Thank you, Pierre. If you want to come back again, you're always welcome.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
looking forward to doing more things with you, maybe outside of social media. But I really respect the advice that you gave us today, the wisdom that you brought us. Thank you. I'm sure our viewers like it too. Hit me up if you want to come back.
Definitely. Follow Mr. Nobody Speaks and Mr. Nobody Pierre on everything. It's the same everywhere.
Yep, and his link is in the caption. So if you didn't catch what he said, click the link and you're gonna get all his TikTok, Instagram. You're gonna get all of that in the link that's in the caption. But I will talk to you guys later. Enjoy the rest of y'all Monday.
Love y'all. God bless.